Israel and the Middle East, our country has an incredible history of combining technology and knowledge with war. Today, we are going to delve into this history, the history of war and technology in this country. Israeli defense technology and tactics have come a long way since the days of King David. This land has been placed at the crossroads of empires for millennia, and many of them have engaged in battles with the people of this land. Technology and skill have evolved over time. I am right in front of the IDF headquarters in Tel Aviv. Today, we are delving into this history, the history of the Israeli military, from King David to the present day. Some decision needs to be made in minutes, so you need to make the right decision. The human being remains with the same capabilities, but technologies progress all the time. We still do not trust the computer to replace the guy, but I would say that this kind of thing that we will see in the coming years was incredibly impressive. Mission accomplished. Wow, welcome to the LB facilities. LB Systems is today the leading defense company in Israel, building and developing new technologies to support the needs of the IDF to maintain Israel's defense peace. Ilat Systems is a leading international high-tech defense company. Its largest business unit is UAVs. UAV, which stands for UNM aerial vehicle, is perhaps the most significant feature in any modernization process for all armies today. What is the big difference in the operation of UAVs versus man or the traditional type of plane? For example, when you are talking about AI, which is intelligence surveillance, targeting and reconnaissance missions, you can stay in the air above a target for a large number of hours per day, weeks, sometimes even months. No human being is capable of being in the air for such a long period of time, and yet you know to be productive in the mission. They should use UAVs in missions where man is the limiting factor. The first significant milestone for unmanned aerial vehicles occurred during the First Lebanon War in 1982. The PLO, or Palestine Liberation Organization, established a military presence in Lebanon and launched attacks on northern Israel from Lebanese territory. They were partly supported by Syrian forces, another northern neighbor. In order for Israel to accurately hit the PLO and Syrian forces and not the Lebanese military or civilians, Israel had to be very precise and gather valuable information about the enemy. Positions and movements, the first milestone perhaps in the world for real-time intelligence UAVs, allowed the destruction of most of the Syrian surface and missiles. This basically guaranteed total autonomy to fly above the Lebanese sky with all other aircraft, having helicopters assisting ground forces, missionary aircraft for jet fighters, and everything else. This was just the beginning. Israel was quick to understand the importance of UAV technology for the IDF and went into mass production. Today, more than 80% of all flight hours performed by Israeli air forces are done by drones. UAVs are doing any mission from special forces, border protection, supporting artillery, supporting ground forces, intelligent forces, even arrest. They need some eyes in the sky. If it is artillery, for example, or helicopters or jet fighters, they want to attack a target, you want it to be there before they make the attack. You want to make sure there are no civilians in the area, you have to clear it. They just give you the benefits of information to know what's going on. You said you've been involved with unmanned aerial vehicles for over 25 years. Without going into the details of the mission, which I understand would be classified, what are you able to do now that you were unable to do at that time? I would say that the biggest leap was in the capacity of the sensors. Today we are talking about sensors that can reach almost 200 kilometers. I just want to be specific in what you're saying. You're talking about video, image or photos, image more than 100 kilometers, high-definition video image that we can reach depends on the size of the target, 200 kilometers to the point of being able to distinguish details about it. Yes, wow. Today we are able to detect thousands of targets at the same time. So, simultaneously, you will have thousands of targets on the screen. One of the payloads we have in Elbit is called SkyEye. It has several cameras capable of having an image of more than 1 billion pixels per frame. Wow, the UAVs keep recording all the information. Let's say you have a facility that you want to protect, you have a base in Afghanistan, and any vehicle that approaches, you will receive an alert and instantly you can switch and see the video of this moving vehicle, and you can even do something more, which is quite amazing. In fact, you can actually go back in time and see where it came from. At Elbit Systems, there is an answer for everything. OM shows us just a little bit of his impressive fleet. This is the Skylark, the smallest UAV in service in the Army today. Someone carries this in the backpack. Yes, you throw it with your hand and it gives you what we call intelligence about the heel. With a range of up to 40 kilometers when it flies at 1,000 feet, it is impossible to see it. Nobody knows we are there. The most experienced member of the family is the Skylark, which gives you more than 15 hours in the sky. It is more to get intelligence in the range of 100 kilometers. It is very, very efficient. You showed us UAVs that watch, follow, and collect intelligence, but now there is a whole new class of UAVs that does something completely different. Today, the Sky Striker is capable of hitting targets. The great benefit is the freedom of navigation, so it is not like a missile or projectile that you are just firing. It is capable of navigating to the targets, flying above the targets, remaining in the air for up to 2 hours, and if necessary embark on the mission and even return to land. So this is the big guy, the 900, right? Yes. What this aircraft does, I mean, it's huge. They carry 400 kilograms of payload. It's a cable flying for more than 30 hours, and as we are using satellite communication, we can simply fly as far as we want. The only U that has full civil certification that allows using the UV even in applications that are not military, like in internal security, protect sports events and fire protection, so this brings many benefits and you do everything in one system. Ultimately, it is no surprise that Elbert's UAVs from this small country, Israel, have gained international recognition as valuable assets for defense forces and civil agencies worldwide. Unfortunately, because of our area, it has become one of the advantages of our solution, which is unique to Israel. Our system is proven in combat, which means that it has already seen combat, return from combat. We learn from our mistakes that we made and corrected them and then return to combat. Here is your flying suit, some ear protectors. Like every real pilot, you need to have your name with your flying wings. My wife will be proud. Our takeoff will be at 805 in case of emergency. X only after confirmation from the pilots is when I'm talking about the mission being aborted, is when you see something like this. You can't fly through something like this, and then we'll activate the grid, and this makes the experience of flying in full instrument conditions like flying a day. I am deeply impressed, so let's get ready to fly. Before taking off, let me explain. Meet AEL. He is here to reveal the revolutionary observation helmet system of the Exit Elet. Welcome to the future of aviation. The Exit helmet is actually the most advanced helmet currently on the market. Equipped with advanced display technology, helicopters can now have an enlarged view of their flight route and ground obstacles. This is possible thanks to a variety of sensors and cameras that allow flying even on very dark nights. These devices can identify obstacles, map the terrain, and help find the target zone. With the amount of data coming in, we have developed cutting-edge algorithms and technologies to identify what is relevant and what is not. Our goal is to minimize the amount of information that actually reaches the pilot. Now, you can see how Zeit collects all this data. This is the Zeit helmet. It has two projectors with a field of view greater than 60 degrees. Here you can see the thermal sensor with the cameras that are not affected by light and can see without any light. It has 11 cameras and the image is stitched in real time, creating a panoramic view wherever you look. You already have the image, you don't need to find it. In fact, it has become another crew member in the cabin that always looks around. The onboard computer is picking up all of this and merging everything into an image, identifying what is important for you to see at this moment. We are ready to try this in action. Now, the part one was waiting for. Let's go on a real mission and I can experience this baby. This was an incredibly impressive mission accomplished. I was deeply impressed to see everything changing before my eyes, one layer on top of another. I can understand why someone would pay good money for this. After qualifying, you deserve to receive the Flying Laboratory patch. Thank you very much for coming. The fastest qualification of my life. We are sitting here on the TBN balcony and today we have a special guest, Dr. Uzi Rubin. Dr. Rubin, shalom and welcome to our program. There is no doubt that in our neighborhoods we have people who have on their agenda the purpose of destroying Israel. Let me explain the military strategic environment that has drastically changed since the establishment of Israel. Israel, established amid conflicts, faced resistance from its neighbors, including the Palestinians, who rejected the United Nations partition plan. This led to a series of wars. Despite these challenges, Israel persisted. The adversaries changed strategy, targeting not only the Israel Defense Forces, but also the people of Israel. Today, the main threat to Israel is the stocks of thousands of rockets, ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and UAVs, specifically designed to hit Israel, destroy its infrastructure, and threaten its citizens. Faced with this threat, Israel has been protecting itself by developing anti-missile defenses. The Arrow program, an Israeli development, was initially conceived to combat the Syrian threat. However, as intelligence information revealed that the Iranians were developing missiles capable of hitting Israel, the goal changed to defense against long-range Iranian missiles. You already have the image, you don't need to find it. In fact, it has become another crew member in the cabin that always looks around. The onboard computer is picking up all of this and merging everything into an image, identifying what is important for you to see at this moment. We are ready to try this in action. Now, the part one was waiting for. Let's go on a real mission and I can experience this baby. This was an incredibly impressive mission accomplished. I was deeply impressed to see everything changing before my eyes, one layer on top of another. I can understand why someone would pay good money for this. After qualifying, you deserve to receive the Flying Lab Patch. Thank you very much for coming. The fastest qualification of my life. We are sitting here on the TBN balcony, and today we have a special guest, Dr. Uzi Rubin. Dr. Rubin, shalom and welcome to our program. There is no doubt that in our neighborhoods we have people who have on their agenda the purpose of destroying Israel. Let me explain the military strategic environment that has drastically changed since the establishment of Israel. Israel, established amidst conflicts, faced resistance from its neighbors, including the Palestinians, who rejected the United Nations partition plan. This led to a series of wars. Despite these challenges, Israel persisted. The adversaries changed strategy, targeting not only the Israel Defense Forces, but also the people of Israel. Today, the main threat to Israel is the stocks of thousands of rockets, ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and UAVs, specifically designed to hit Israel, destroy its infrastructure, and threaten its citizens. Faced with this threat, Israel has been protecting itself by developing anti-missile defenses. The Arrow program, an Israeli development, was initially conceived to combat the Syrian threat. However, as intelligence information revealed that the Iranians were developing missiles capable of hitting Israel, the goal changed to defense against long-range Iranian missiles. Galilee was controlled by a local Jewish governor, Joseph, son of Matthias, later Josephus Flavius. In the summer of 67, he came to command the first battle between Jews and Romans in the First Jewish Revolt. The Jewish War, authored by Josephus Flavius, remains as the only comprehensive account of the Great Revolt. In its pages, there is a detailed narrative of the siege of Yodfat. However, its accuracy has been a long-standing issue among historians. That just was here is without a doubt. The excavations of Yodfat proved that just descriptions are very accurate. We dug here and we can continue and see step by step his description and what we found in the field. According to Jus, he fortified 19 settlements and prepared them for a war. We found the wall all over the site. We proved that the wall in Yodfat was built for the war. After fortifying Yodfat, Josephus assembled a Jewish army of farmers. They were old weapons that he found, and they were weapons that were prepared by the blacksmith of Galilee. Everyone believed that God is with them and they will be able to defeat the Roman army. He says that the Romans built a siege ramp. One day, as I was going up and down the hill, I noticed that there was a piece of something that looked like cement. With a pioneering and idealistic heart, I felt the divine responsibility to build a homeland for the Jewish people. The defense of Israel became my mission, and I believe that God empowered me to lead this great project. Dr. Uzi Rubin, your contribution is invaluable. As you mentioned, God blessed you with an extraordinary mind to accomplish what you did. Let's continue praying for peace in Jerusalem and that God will continue to use people like Dr. Rubin to protect Israel. Now, I'm on my way to Galilee, towards the ancient abandoned city of Yodfat. There, I will meet the archaeologist MTIAM. Hello, MTI, it's good to see you. I'm looking forward to seeing what you and your team have discovered during the 6 seasons of excavation. You revealed the remains of one of the most heroic battles in history on this land. Yodfat is the site of the first battle between Jews and Romans in the First Jewish Revolt. The Romans are here, still under the reign of Herod the Great. Rome decided not to change the system of government anymore. The local Jewish kings and the relationship between the Jews and the Roman authority began from there. Galilee was controlled by a local Jewish governor, Joseph, son of Matthias, later known as Josephus Flavius. In the summer of 67, he came to command the first battle between Jews and Romans in the First Jewish Revolt. The Jewish War, authored by Josephus Flavius, remains as the only comprehensive account of the Great Revolt. In its pages, there is a detailed narrative of the siege of Yodfat. However, its accuracy has been a long-standing issue among historians. The excavations of Yodfat proved that just descriptions are very accurate. We dug here and we can continue and see step by step his description and what we found in the field. According to Jus, he fortified 19 settlements and prepared them for war. We found the wall all over the site and proved that the wall in Yodfat was built for the war. After fortifying Yodfat, Josephus assembled a Jewish army of farmers. They believed that God was with them and that they would be able to defeat the Roman army. He says that the Romans built a siege ramp. One day, as I was going up and down the hill, I noticed that there was a piece of something that looked like. With the decision to dig, we discovered the remains of the ramp. Josephus and his Jewish army, despite being untrained and low-tech, developed innovative tactics to resist the Romans. They created what they called a turris form, a shield formation. But Josephus had an idea, to boil the oil and pour it from the wall onto the Roman soldiers. This passed between the shields and burned them. We know that this was a difficult war for the Romans. They did not expect the Jews to fight like this. Translate to English. The most painful discovery at the site unfortunately validates Josephus's tragic narrative. Undoubtedly, the Romans committed a heavy massacre of Jews in the streets. He talks about rivers of blood flowing downhill. Many scholars and historians, although they have said that this is an exaggeration by Josephus, we found that it was true. We found bones with cut marks, especially bones here in front of the arm, which indicates self-defense. This is exactly what you do when someone hits you with a sword. That's why these cut marks are here on the bones. Let's suppose we don't have Josephus's descriptions. There is no book called Jewish War. I would have said that I am digging a first-century Jewish city that suffered an attack from the Roman army and there was a great massacre here. When we published a story about finding the remains, the army chief came here. We reddened those bones on the ground and they took him to the grave where the mass grave was found. They buried him there and said prayers. The Israeli army in which I served, my children serve and my grandchildren are serving, are celebrating the warriors of 67. They lost, but we remember them. They lost, but we are here. It's a very powerful scene. Only Josephus survived to share the tragic story. Josephus said that he escaped and jumped into a cave and suddenly saw around him the 40 elders of the city. He told the elders that they knew they had lost, that they should surrender and give up. They said no, it's better to commit suicide. This is against everything, it is against human behavior and especially, it is against Jewish law. You are not allowed to kill yourself. The whole God who created you will take you. And then they drew lots. Each one had to kill the other and in the end there are two. MTI's personal story is surprisingly similar to Josephus's, making him the perfect archaeologist to unearth and understand the secret of Yodfat. I was in command in the 73 war in front of the Syrians and we 3 tanks at our post fought for a few hours until we lost all our tanks. At night, we found shelter in a small cement room and the Syrians climbed the hill. Then the patrol officer said that if anyone was able, get out and surrender to the Syrians. One of our soldiers got up and left. The minute he left, we had shootings. Then the officer said that I'm not going to take any prisoners, they're going to come in and kill us. Therefore, each one will have a grenade in hand, take the safety pin out and when the Syrians are inside I tell you, and we will blow up the bunker with them. We decided to commit suicide, but the Syrians did not enter. So I've been there once and we keep living. But that's something that allowed me to understand a little.